see. Real key. And what had happened was based on, I think it was the time when he knew he was going when the disciples were saying, I don't know, we can't make it without you. You see, they was into following somebody. And he's saying, my whole doctrine is breaking down. You ain't getting it. I came to tell you to lift yourself up and be ye perfect as I am. You see, that means be perfect means the exact duplicate. He said, so no, wait a minute, y'all, you all breaking down. And when I leave, you're going to break this thing down if you don't know what the hell. That's why I said, is it not? So they were scared, and he said, wait a minute. Is it not written in your law that I said it? You God too. You see, John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. Also, and also Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, and 17. For as many are led by the Spirit of God, there are sons of God. You see what I'm saying? And the Spirit that breatheth within our spirit, that are in the children of God, and if the children then hears of God, then it joints heirs of the Christ. God then joints heirs of the Christ, which is the same breath that breathes in that breathes in you too. And what they're saying about if the children hear, they're talking about you waking up. You see what I'm saying? Because also you born gods. That's Romans chapter 8, 14, 16, and 17. There's another one in Psalms chapter 8, 3 and 6, and also Moroni. Now, I know some people say they didn't find it in the Bible, but there's several other texts. Moroni chapter 10, verse 4 to 5. So that means in actuality, the way they got this stuff set up is set up for you to sit up here and pray all the doggone time. And like the yogi master say, most of your prayers don't even hit the doggone ceiling, let alone get to heaven. You see. Now, also, now what it means is this, they said, so when the transmission came, they said, we're going to tell you what the curse of Ham means. Ham comes from the Kemetic word Cam, which means black. So Ham also means black because there was also an H in Egyptian too. So Ham means black. The curse of Ham is not talking about a person that would be shamelessly elongated and his hair would dry out like raisins. Everybody ever heard that curse of Ham, which in some of the Mormon Bibles they still have. The true curse of Ham and what the spiritual hosts say is fundamentalism, or what you call you falling into a religion that was meant for the white boy in the later days to actually tell you in actuality that the spirit was in you and you're supposed to walk and be Christ on the Godhead or on the actual third dimension. But yet you start following people unlike nothing but yourselves. But so you understand what I'm saying? So they're saying in actuality that your curse is spookism. Being scared of a devil that don't exist. You see what I'm saying? And being scared of a God that's supposed to be an unapproachable God. You see? Like, that's why I said I went to church in New York last week and they were singing about God died to save the soul like a wretch like me. Now, in John chapter 10, verse 34, 36, he's saying to hell you a God. Jesus said you was a God. But they're saying a wretch like me. Now, they don't understand it in actuality. That is white people's psychosis because they understand with a xenophobic attitude that they fear the world, they fear God, they fear people unlike them, and they fear the woman, and they hate themselves. So therefore, when you went into slavery, you started hating yourself, and when you came on the level of the beast, and then with black people, when they first got in the church, they went to the doggone white people church and used to sit up in the balcony and used to sing white people songs. And they hit this wretch like me. And some of the damn hymn books and shit come from white people. And yes, I'm saying, like I said before, okay, I'm cursing, right? Well, listen, ain't no such thing as being sacrilegious about cursing for the simple doggone fact. This English language was not even on the planet when the actual spiritual scriptures came down, so how can a doggone English curse word be an abomination to God? Check? You see what I'm saying? So that they don't have nothing. It's like I said before, we just use those words for emphasis now because we have mastered that particular part of the English language real good. And it don't sound good now unless we drive it home that way. Okay. All right, so now that's what the curse of Ham is you falling into spookism. And now they're saying this is the information age of spiritual attainment. Now, I'm not talking about like the white man that don't believe in God. He's talking about scientific and a Big Bang theory. No, we ain't talking about that. That's crazy stuff too. That's the white man trying to justify his existence. We're talking about believing in the same God, but we're talking about believing on a higher order of spirituality, just like the order when Jesus came, he was of that order of Melchizedek. He understood a great deal, just as the people in Hemmitt. So we're talking about on another level than some of the stuff that the white boy talking about. Because the fundamentalist going to bring that to you too. Oh, you believe everything in sex. Because see, everything is based on what people hear. Nobody does any studying for themselves. Now, they said in actuality, what has been happening is because you have a certain spiritual body, when you pray, it's not like you're getting blessings from Jesus. They're saying you're getting blessings based on your karma that you got to play out down here and your own thought process, your own thought ability. So some of you people, when you go into fundamentalism, yes, you pray to God. And what happens is you believe so much and you use that spiritual part of yourself until it automatically brings it to you anyway. That's the positive thing. Two Marys that predates the Christian Mary. And this mythology of a creation story, how the world was, the universe was created by two sisters that got in a war with each other. And one wanted to keep the creation in the hemisphere, or in the stratosphere, or in the great beyond, within the context of the nothingness of the universe, and the other one wanted to expand the creation. And apparently the one who wanted to expand the creation won out. And there were two sisters called M-E-R-I. You see? And she found this in Budge's hieroglyphic dictionaries. So, looking and saying that there's nothing that didn't come up out of Africa, didn't come out of the Nile Valley, didn't come out of black people. You see what I'm saying? Well, we got that? Mary. You see, the same mother of Jesus. Two Marys that was in one of the creation stories. You see, it wasn't in one of the creation stories. You know, we know there's several creation stories, which is, here's another one to add, which there's a book, Marie-Louise von Franc's book, Creation Myths. So there's another creation story that they have to add. But this is very pertinent information. So it's just ongoing when it comes to doing the research on this stuff. Any more questions? Any more? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Right now I'm reading the Stargate Conspiracy.
Yeah, good book.
And they're talking about the Hall of Records or the Pyramid of Records that they may be looking for underneath the Sphinx.
Yeah.
And what's your...
well, my thing is
that is something very important if it's to be found.
Well, my point is that this thing first showed up with Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, you know, the great psychic, was the first person to mention this stuff about a great hall of records that was under the Sphinx, and it would be opened up. And he was looking at it, but I don't think that he could understand what it was literally. Just like he said that in the last days there will be an avatar that will come called John Pineal. And John Pineal would bring the world to a new level of consciousness. So he's reading stuff, but he's not trained in the occult to understand that John, which is the Christian Elijah, and the Hebrew Elijah is the Egyptian Tahuti. You see what I'm saying? So John Pineal, the wisdom of Tahuti is the wisdom of alchemy. And so John Pineal means alchemical pineal or melanin pineal, because alchemy is the study of melanin. So he said Pineal, John Pineal will come, and John Pineal is one who comes before Christ. But he said John, which is John who comes before Christ. Pineal is the Christ. John, Tahuti, or Anubis, Horus. Horus is called the Great Face, which is the pineal gland. So this was metaphysical. He didn't understand that the basic was saying that the pineal glands in the last days will wake up in the third hour open up, or be born in a race of people. You see what I'm saying? Same thing that the Rosicrucian Cosmos Conception had, real racist book, Rosicrucian Cosmos Conception, but they did put a lot of the stuff that they was holding on to, where it said that the pineal glands will open up in the last days. Well, what's the name printed that in her book, Finding of the Third Eye? Vera Stanley Adler. Vera Stanley Adler's book,
the finding of the third eye. She has the part of the Rosicrucian Cosmos conception saying that the pineal glands will open up in the last days. So it's the same one that the Moors had, that the Rosicrucians got, but then Edgar Casey got this and was thinking it was supposed to be a real person, which was a metaphysical thing of something opening up in the body. Well, he also got that the great Sphinx, under the Sphinx, would be a hall of records. Now he got all these people going, and that's what the book, the Stargate Conspiracy is talking about. They got a whole conspiracy, which is a hell of a book. I recommend it, because it really shows what the government is behind. One I didn't bring up, the Stargate Conspiracy. What's the guy name on? What's the name of that guy's name? One is
the author?
Yeah, the author. Something Penny, something. It's just called the Stargate Conspiracy, and it really shows what the government is really doing. Huh? Clive Prince and something else. No, the first is Clive Prince, and it shows what they're really into. This book here shows what they're really behind.
Yes.
And they go into everything. They go into everything, even deal with the black thing up in there. You go up in there and deal with how they even go in and say how some of the occult people are racist. And they deal with the whole black thing that's going down. But Edgar Casey said that there would be something that would open up under the Sphinx, a hall of records. Well, it was metaphysical. Here it goes again. The Sphinx is Horus and Sekhmet, or Horus and Maya complex. Horus means what? Heru means the great face. The hero, the word hero, you get the word Heru, which is Egyptian for Horus, the Christ. You get the word hero, which is the Greek word for Horus, or Heru. And you get, and it's called the great face. The great face. Now you keep breaking it down. Where's the great face in the Bible? The face of God in the Bible is when Jacob wrestled with the angel all night, and he saw what? In the morning when daybreak,
Pineal.
he saw what? Pineal, which was called what? The face of God. You see what I'm saying? The face of God.
Is that the small face one?
That's the small face one. The face of God is the pineal gland. You see what I'm saying? So the face of God, with Horus, or Heru, is called the great face. So we already got so the Sphinx represents the great face. Okay, under the great face, or the pineal gland, is the hall of records. That's called the Akashic records. What is the hall of records? The hall of records is the genetic memory bank encoded inside of the melanin. The hall of records, they call it the Akashic records. Or in the Bible, they say these books will be opened. And people who bear the name. All this stuff is metaphysical. So the hall of records is nothing. Where is the hall of records? The hall of records is within the great face. The great face is the pineal gland. The small face one, you see what I'm saying? With the small, which is the pineal gland, up under the brain, or within the brain. And then there's the hall of records, all of the memory bank. So he misconstrued this, in the Education Society has been buying up parts of, buying up excavation. They have to go in and bid on who's going to excavate something in Kemet. So they have got, in the Hume Society, and there's different societies, they have to go in and bid, and the Arabs don't care. They're like, it ain't our history. Highest bidder, So they have to go and bid on who's going to go and dig and try to find these hall of records. And literally, they're not going to find no hall of records, because the hall of records is in us. You see what I'm saying? Is inside of us. Now, the ultimate people in the occult knows this. You see what I'm saying? That's why, and I talked about this before, I've been talking about this last couple of years, that's why they're coming to us now. Black people who's supposed to know something, they're coming to us now, acting real nice, and trying to get us to join their secret societies. You see, trying to get us to join their secret societies. They're doing that now because they need us to give them all this information. So what they'll do is say, hey, look, and it's going to get to the point where they're going to go, look, they'll step into young brothers, like some brother just coming out of college, one of the brothers that graduated FAMU. Well, his last year in FAMU, he heard me, and something woke up in him. But he's one of these cats that's a researcher too. So he's doing all this research in all these books. And so, when he was talking to one of these white boys, they realized that he had something in his mind other than most niggas who don't. So they invited him to come and join the Crawley OTO. Because they wanted to say, because we're doing research, we want you to do research, we want you to write some papers. And they're going to go to the point where they say, we'll pay you. Mm-hmm. So the money is no object to white folks. They can say, hey, look, we'll give you, they can get to the point where they go, we can give you a salary for $50,000 a year. On the side, just to do research. You see, because they want to know what's coming out of our minds. Because our minds hold Akashic records. You see, so now this is the new, this is the new thing now, is to get black people who are conscious to somewhat come in and aid in doing research. So that they can be saved. Because remember now, these people have been in this thing for about, right around the same time that we were getting out of slavery, out of physical slavery of the Civil War. It was one time they started going into this occult stuff. Remember, they translated the hieroglyphics in the 1830s. You see what I'm saying? And there was a whole resurgence. Right after Napoleon went up into Hemmitt, there was a resurgence of all this particular information and stuff. They call it Egyptomania and stuff. And they started getting in, and all this led to later occult societies. And so now they've been in this thing for close to 140-something years. And they ain't made one convert to Christ on that particular level. They done did all kinds of spook stuff and said, now it's over now. Now they're looking and saying, we well into the millennium now, and hey, we ain't hitting the lick out of snake. You see, so therefore, we need to get the people that we know that's dealing with this type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? And they know that the only people they can be is the people who's privy to the information first of all. You see. And that's us. The Africans in America, and this what came out of this particular conscious community. And so that hall of records is inside of us. Some of them actually know it, but that's not going to stop them, because in the Stargate conspiracy, they're over there and they're digging and they're doing all kinds of stuff. It's an amazing book when they go into all of the actual stuff, and they're showing what's really behind these particular people. Now, what's that, brother?
I just wanted to ask you some questions. Can you give a quick explanation of the origin of the Caucasian man?
Oh yeah, well, it's interesting. I did 2 tapes on it. One is Human Artificial, and the other one is called Immigrant Human. Human Artificial I did actually 10 years ago, February '93, and I did the other one, the first part of 2001, called Immigrant Humans. And I did the one in '93, and I had a great deal of information to do a full 5-hour tape, 6-hour tape, and then I had to go and do another tape and tack another 4 or 5 hours on it, 6 hours on this tape, because I had got just that much information that came out about the European. Well, I want to give two explanations. I might have talked about it the last time I was here, because there's 2 explanations, because it was 2 schools of thought. One came as late. One of the final elements of this came as late as December of 2002.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing here is yes, based on the Egyptians, and they said in the Hemmitt text that our problem is we learned how to make another man. So based on genetic engineering, we know that, and my tapes deal with just the endless amount of data that proves that most of the Afrocentric scholars could not basically say, because remember now, these people were working for the universities at the time.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying, working for the universities at the time, so they just couldn't come up and say that the white man was the devil and try to prove this stuff. You see what I'm saying? Last scholar that outside of the Nation of Islam that presented his case of them being even psychotic, we do believe, with Bobby E. Wright, wrote the book, Psychopathic Racist White People. And all of a sudden, in 81, he comes down with cancer. You see what I'm saying? He comes down with cancer. You know, it's just interesting here. You know, well, hell, they took John Coltrane out after having an epiphany and all this stuff was spiritual. All of a sudden, he just come down with cancer overnight. You see, overnight. But in so many words, we have the genetic engineering from some priesthood in the ancient world. We link it back to some Hemmitt origins. And a breakaway group of priests that went up into Europe and used it as an incubation center. But we're talking about genetic engineering. They had that kind of technology. There's so many books on it. Rudolf Steiner wrote about it in his book Atlantis and Lemuria. And it was the only book of his that it's not printed today, but you can still get it from Kissinger and other places, Health Research. He wrote about it, about a new race of man being created. And then his contemporary H.G. Wells, who was a part of the same secret society, wrote the novel version of it, of The Island of Dr. Moreau. Same thing basically is genetic engineering. So we do have that particular part. What we found out recently is now come to light is that the Diop's two cradle theory of people traveling up and mutating based on climate adaptability is also a part of what happened. So we have two kind of histories. Well, you got to understand, the earth is extremely old. And Homo sapiens sapien, I don't even like to say that because I don't see no text where the Egyptians say that we was 8 before we came down here. The Egyptians and all the ancient stuff that I study say that man has been here from the beginning. You see what I'm saying? So one guy asked me, you heard me talk about this before, but one guy asked me as far as Thursday, well, how can you account for all those different stages of bones we have that don't look human? I say those are different stages of apes. Just like there's different species of dog, different species of elephant, different species of lion, and we have different species of animals that we have that's concurrently consistent with different species of ape. But hell, he already told you it was a missing link. Well, you know what I'm saying right there, letting you know that that's some bull. But so that's still been a confusing aspect. But the new theory is this: you got two concepts. Come to find out, both of them are true. One of them is you have genetic engineering, and that is a hybrid monster-like figure. The other one has is climate adaptability, which constitutes for white people who, as Richard Kane says, that 4% that have an open pineal gland are darker-haired white folk. You see what I'm saying? Most of the people, humans on the earth have dark hair.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Right. Now, they have dark hair. So, it also, the other races outside of black can also constitute for climate adaptability, as well as